Good evening, everybody. I would like to, are we on,
You're good.
we're good? I'd like to call this meeting of December the 7th, 2024 to order at 7 p.m. Please stay seated for a moment of reflection. Thank you. As we gather this evening, I acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. We'll move to the marriage address. As the 2024 year end approaches, I want to take this opportunity to extend a Merry Christmas, safe and happy holiday season to all of council, staff, and residents of North Algona Wilberforce. It has been a pleasure working with the council and staff that embrace new challenges, collect data and information to provide to council so well-informed decisions can be made. Guided by the strategic plan, staff has compiled a summary of the accomplishments that were achieved in the past year. I want to emphasize that this work was completed in spite of the resignation of the CAO clerk treasurer and the temporary replacement during the recruitment process. And based on our strategic plan 2020 to 2025, and reflective of our mission, we are a vibrant community committed to growth, environmental stewardship, services, and infrastructure that advances the quality of life through collaboration with our citizens, businesses, and visitors, all within our financial means. So under our strategic priorities, the first one is improved communications and fast, reliable internet. The new Bulger Road Cell Tower C8624 EOR under construction and in progress to be completed in 2025. We've increased the registration for our Community Connect information services. Our request for our service online requests for residents is ongoing. Our social media and website information updates are ongoing. We use print media, even the later Discover Renfrew County, mail insert with taxes, etc. And our new employee handbook has been completed. Under our housing, we have the Housing Accelerator Fund 2 grant application, which is pending. And of course, we have our partnership with Renfrew County for the Housing Forum, which was completed in the spring. Our commitment to continuous improvement, North Algona staff workshops and conferences involving AMTCO county workshops, that's been complete. Cameron Montgomery has completed her emergency management training and certification. Laura Griffiths has completed the municipal administration program, and Don Andrews has completed 2 units. Jill Hemlin is transitioning to an online permitting software program. We expect it to start January 2025. Adrian Tomasini has provided council with a 5-year capital roads needs plan. We have new administration policies, an entrance policy, mailbox policy, speed limit policy, cash on hand, credit card, debt management, investment, reserve and reserve fund, and our year-end surplus deficit, as well as our human resources policy, and those are all complete. We have a provincial fire protection grant application for cancer reduction, and that's pending. We've hired 4 new firefighters, 1 currently certified, 3 attending training with the BV Fire Department. We have 8 current firefighters who've completed firefighter level 2 and are moving on to hazardous materials and operations. We have hands-on training with Hamilton Fire as part of the Fire Service Women of Ontario, and that was a conference. We have fire prevention training seminar for 2 of our firefighters. And we have firefighter training, which included relay pumping, water shuttle operations, wild land practical skills, low angle rope skill, initial arrival, scene size up, and effective command. And we have NFPA firefighter level 2 course for uncertified firefighters that's ongoing. Our business and advocacy partners, we have our partnership with the Bocher Union Public Library, and we had a successful book sale in the Bupel Rocks event. The North Algona Wilberforce staff and Lake Dory property owners have done the Canada Day breakfast and the Canada Day celebrations. We have a partnership with Shaw Woods, Eagleville Rotary, and North Algona Wilberforce for the Easter egg hunt at Shaw Woods Education Center. We have a partnership with Rankin Community and Culture Center for the outdoor rink, the Halloween party, and in 2025, pickleball. We have a partnership with Eagleville Rotary, Eagleville District Seniors, and North Algona Wilberforce for the rehabilitation of the horseshoe pits at Snowdrifters. We have a partnership with Golden Lake Property Owners Association in bringing forward the skating loop and the Golden Lake Regatta, which was also partnered with the Water and Dirt Festival. We have the Echo Center and North Algona Wilberforce New Horizons Senior Program at the Golden Lake Community Hall. We have a partnership with Club Inc. ourselves, and that was a tourism grant that was successful, and the work is in progress. Excuse me. We have a partnership with Bocher Valley, Whitewater Township, North Algona Wilberforce for the Rural Transit Solutions Fund. We have a partnership with Bocher Valley, North Algona Wilberforce, and for a grant for automatic communication tower backup tower system at Foymount. We have our swim program, which is a partnership with Bocher Valley, Laurentian Valley, North Algona Wilberforce, and Adamson Bromley. We have a partnership with the Community Resource Center in Killaloe for the Holistic Support Program for Children at Snowdrifters. We have a partnership between Adamson Bromley, Bocher Valley, Whitewater, Eganville District Seniors, Echo Center, and ourselves for the walking program at Opeongo High School. Partnership with Adamson Bromley, Bocher Valley, and North Algona Wilberforce for emergency service agreements, updates, and renewals. We have a pending extrication service agreement with Pick-Wacknagon. Our fire department is looking at bringing a mobile fire training unit to our municipality and inviting surrounding municipalities for live fire training in May of 2025. We're in process of the transition to the Circular Material of Ontario for our Blue Box program. The Recreation Committee and Renfrew County ATV Club are planning a poker run in June of 2025. And we have had AMO and Roma delegations with MTO regarding the Golden Lake intersection realignment, Wilkins Trail completion, and Highway 60 signage for Mennonite horse and buggies, including letters of support from the County of Renfrew, MPP John Yakubuski, and the Chief of Pick-Wacknagon. Infrastructure and roads, we have the Snowdrifters grant approvals for the new roof, the new 10,000 liter high efficiency septic system, a new 48 kilowatt backup generator, 5 new sinks and toilets. That work has been completed. The Bocher Cup Inc. group has removed the old track boards and have done ground improvements at Snowdrifters. At the Golden Lake Community Hall, we have a new 14 kilowatt generator and, of course, our new community gardens. The Shaw Woods Administration Building will be getting new flooring in 2025. Our roads, we have new asphalt on Point Church Road for 3.1 kilometers, Roosler Road for 2.2 kilometers, Chinman Road for 810 meters, and that's complete. We also have done recycled asphalt on Schoolhouse Road and Ott Road, applied 8,000 ton of new gravel on various roads, and equipment purchases involve the new Coyote tractor, complete with plow and sanding attachments, the new 3,500 GMC one-ton truck complete with plow and sanding attachments, the new Ford 150 patrol vehicle, and a used replacement rescue vehicle for the fire department. Our community food connections include the Ottawa Valley Food Co-op, which operates out of Snowdrifters, our Golden Lake Food Bank, our Golden Lake tree lighting with the event donations to the food bank, our Knock Christmas dinner with raffle donations to the food bank, the new Golden Lake Community Garden, which was completed in partnership as well with the food bank, Snowdrifters and Renfrew County District Health Unit Kitchen Inspection at Snowdrifters is complete. North Algona Wilberforce and Seeds of Creation Trillion Seed Grant for the Community Garden in Golden Lake was successful. North Algona Wilberforce County Renfrew Ontario Ministry of Agriculture and Food, Agriculture and Economic Development Forum Workshop and farm tours, and that was also very successful. So I want to thank our staff for the work they've accomplished in the past year, considering they were operating with a part-time CAO for 6 months. The extra time and effort from staff is a perfect example of the commitment they demonstrate for our community and our residents. I had the pleasure of presenting service awards to a number of staff at our annual Christmas dinner, and a report is attached to it. At the inaugural meeting of County Council, Peter Eamon was re-elected as warden for 2025. And County Council has adopted a new committee of the whole structure beginning in January. The Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Center Committee met on November 28th, 2025 to review and approve the budget for 2025. This will be a transition year for OVWRC as Antera will be leasing the building and sorting equipment beginning in March of 2025. Comments in response to the Ministry of Environment technical reviewers regarding the expansion of the leachate treatment system have been submitted to the ministry representative. Once written concurrence is received, the next step will be submission to the ECA application to the permissions branch. And the Eagle Santa Claus Parade is being rescheduled for Friday, December 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m. And lastly, I'd like to take this opportunity to express our appreciation to MPP John Yakubuski for his many years of dedicated service and wish him and his family well in their future endeavors. Thank you. That is my mayor's address. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Byrne, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments, questions?
There was a shout out over at the Beacon too.
Oh, yes. Thank you for remembering that one was already complete. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Councilor Ricketts.
And I'd just like to thank the people who made the Christmas happy holiday dinner at White Hills a tremendous success, because there was lots of work that went into it, I'm sure. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, and well attended, and we all enjoyed it in spite of the weather. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, then we'll move to the adoption of the minutes. And I have a motion that the November 6th, 2024 special minutes, the November 19th, 2024 regular minutes, and the December 2nd, 2024 special minutes be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Bird. Any additions, corrections, or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And that brings us to our delegations, and we have 3 delegations tonight. And first on our agenda is Kelly Houlihan from the Upper Ottawa Valley Chamber of Commerce. And welcome, Kelly, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to be here. Council, my name is Kelly and I'm the Executive Director of the Upper Ottawa Valley Chamber of Commerce. I'm here tonight because it's important to us as the Chamber of Commerce that we build and grow our partnerships and relationships in this community that our catchment area covers a great expanse of most of Renfrew County. And although in recent years, in recent years, our attention has been primarily on the larger townships and city centers in Pembroke, Petawawa, Ridge Valley Township, etc. We worry that the member businesses outside of that central area had not been receiving the value for their membership with us that they deserve. In our new strategic plan that we introduced last year, when I joined the chamber as the executive director, we put together this strategic plan. We dedicated ourselves to creating better value for our member businesses and helping to grow a stronger, more connected local business community. Our membership, as a board of trade, we have a membership of businesses across from most of Renfrew County, as I noted. More than 250 businesses right now. And our funding comes primarily from those memberships. But a lot of the work that we do is for the development and growth of the local economy. Those local businesses that are members of the chamber, 80% of them are very small businesses with fewer than 7 employees. Many of them need support in professional development, education. They need support in funding opportunities, grants, and the opportunity to manage their operating costs through discount programs and to grow their business through marketing opportunities, promotion, advertising, etc., all of which we bring to the table for them. But one big piece of the work that we do is the advocacy work on behalf of the local business community, bringing the voice of business to the table where decisions are made that affect the local economy. Our aim is to grow a strong, connected business community in the area in order to improve quality of life overall. It becomes the backbone of everything, all of the services, all of those partnerships that we saw earlier. That all comes from a strong community that has a thriving economy. And the more that we can grow that economy, the more we can do for our community as a whole. So the Chamber of Commerce sits on committees and councils in order to bring the voice of the business community to those conversations. I know Melissa and her team quite well because I sit on a number of committees at the county level, whether we're talking about affordable housing and homelessness, or transportation, or healthcare, human resources, and physician recruitment. I sit on councils for the college, for example, advisory council for the business program. All because these social matters are all also business matters, right? It's through addressing these things together as a collaborative effort, bringing public, private, and not-for-profit together. That's how we, as a collaborative unit, we grow our little corner of the world. So what I'm bringing here this evening is an opportunity for us to start a dialogue about a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. How can we bring your economic development efforts together with our economic development efforts in a partnership in order to help our local businesses? What would that look like? And what kind of outcomes are we looking to be able to achieve? Cameron and I have met, and we've had some conversation to begin with. And I believe that if she wants to go down that road of working with us on whether it's community events for the business community in order to network and connect together and do business with each other, or maybe bringing education opportunities or grant programs and whatnot to the local area. We can work with her and she can feel confident that she has the support of the leadership here in the township and town council on her side as well. What we're asking for as we do a little tour of the county and get to know all of the townships in our catchment area, we're just simple requests. One is that each of the townships in our catchment area has a membership with the Chamber of Commerce. That's our primary funding, is through memberships. It's only a few $100s a year. But that few $100, when you add it all up, can help us to keep our lights on and be able to sit on the councils and committees and bring the voice of the business community to those conversations. It will help everybody. So that's our first request. Our second is that one of our favorite activities to do, which is a not-for-profit activity, but one that I feel is very valuable, is an annual event with the mayor, a mayor's breakfast. Where the business community has the opportunity to chat with the mayor and his team about matters that mean something to their businesses. Whether it's the challenges they have with labor shortages, or the challenges they have with transportation in the area for their employees, how safe they feel in the streets, in the towns, or whatever the matters are that they want to have a conversation about that affects their business. We offer that forum, and it's a good opportunity to engage about business. And then the third request is that our primary fundraising activity each year is our annual gala. It's a Business Excellence Awards Gala where we honor and celebrate the businesses of our region. We have trophies, and we have speeches, and we have I think you may have been there. We treat everyone like a rock star. We have a red carpet, and it's a fantastic event to celebrate the hard work of our business community. And that, as I noted, is our primary fundraising opportunity. And we ask that the townships help to support us in that gala with the purchase of a sponsorship, either sponsoring an award category, so the mayor has the opportunity to present a trophy to one of our businesses, or sometimes townships will purchase a table of 8 tickets and donate those tickets to small businesses in their community that may not have membership with the chamber and may benefit from the opportunity to meet some of the business leaders in our region. So that's our request this evening, that we start with a dialogue with Cameron, that we consider some of the opportunities to partner in 2025, and that we go forward together as a collaborative unit.
Thank you very much, Kelly, and your timing is good because we're getting ready for budget preparations, and it's always good to know what council wants to review and certainly explore. If I could just ask you maybe to put something together in a letter, just outlining those requests so that we have it documented, and I look forward to doing one of your breakfasts with the mayor as well.
I think that would be fantastic. I would very much enjoy that. Thank you.
Because I did enjoy the golf tournament last.
Yes, yes. Your mayor is an excellent barbecuer.
Well, she didn't say anything about your golfing.
I didn't even try.
You only came for the finale.
Yeah. And it was really pleasure, and I'm sorry I missed the awards. I had a conflict that evening because I really did want to go, but I was pleased to see it was a member from our community that received the
in construction and trades.
Yes.
Yes, Ottawa Valley Quarry and Drilling.
Yes, that was great. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Our next delegation is Melissa Marquardt and her helper, Ryan Giberson from the county of Renfrew. And Melissa, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Bros, and good evening, everyone, and council. I was here earlier this year to chat about economic development, but at the request of the mayor, we're here to talk about a few updates on the tourism side of the house. On the municipal accommodation tax, the Ottawa Valley Tourist Association's influencer program, as well as to share information about the Ontario Festival of Small Halls. And then I'll also touch briefly on the first Impressions Community Exchange program at the request of the mayor also. And next slide, please. Okay, so Brian.
I'm Ryan Giberson. I'm a tourism development officer with the Ottawa Valley Tourist Association. And I'm just going to give a quick summary on municipal accommodation tax in our region. This typically applies to roof accommodations, bed and breakfast, motels, and short-term rentals, but it can also entail camping, and it's applicable for stays under 30 days. The tax rate varies from anywhere to 4 to 6% is the median for the rate. Some bigger cities like Toronto or Ottawa, I believe Toronto is sitting at 7%. But in terms of the rural areas, it ranges between 4 to 6%. And in terms of collection, the accommodation providers collect the mat at the point of sale and remit it to the municipality or a designated collection or administrative body. And the revenue allocation, the municipality must share at least 50% of the revenue after reasonable cost of administration and collection with an eligible tourism entity. And the eligible tourism entity must have a tourism mandate like a destination marketing organization. The eligible tourism entity must spend the funds on tourism, marketing, and development initiatives that support the municipality. And the portion of the funds remained by the municipality can be used in any way the municipality sees fit, but in most cases, it is directly correlated to tourism initiatives. Next slide, please. One of the benefits for the MAT tax is increased revenue for tourism development. So this tax generates a dedicated source of funding for tourism initiatives, marketing campaigns, and destination development. Revenue from the MAT can be used to promote and enhance local attractions, festivals, and events, driving more visitors to the area and increase longer stays. Another thing that it can do is enhance tourism infrastructure. The funds can be allocated to improving infrastructure that supports tourism, such as signage, public spaces, trails, and facilities. This investment enhances the visitor experience and encourages repeat visits to the region. In terms of economic growth, by attracting more visitors, the MAT helps boost local businesses such as restaurants, shops, and entertainment venues. Increased tourism activity can create jobs and stimulate the local economy in each region. And it also allocates for a competitive marketing advantage. So the tax provides resources to compete with other destinations through targeted advertising and promotional campaigns. It enables partnerships with tourism stakeholders, including hotels, tour operators, and regional organizations. It also supports sustainable tourism. The MAT funds can be used for sustainable tourism projects, including environmental, conservation, trail maintenance, and eco-friendly initiatives. And lastly, visitor-focused investment. Since MAT is collected from visitors staying in accommodations, the funds directly support projects that benefit and attract future visitors, creating a positive feedback loop.
Next slide, please. So just a bit of an update of what's happening locally in Renfrew County, and then we'll also share a little bit of what's happening regionally. So we, just to provide a little bit of history, in 2019, the Ottawa Valley Tourist Association went on a bit of a roadshow to present all this information. It was a very different time then, very different scenario for the tourism industry. Obviously, the pandemic changed many things in the tourism industry coming out of that. We saw accommodators suffering during the pandemic because their doors were basically shuttered because nobody was traveling, nobody was staying in accommodations. And coming out of the pandemic, we saw a number of communities realizing that there's potential with this municipal accommodation tax. In some cases, those MAP funds that were collected during the pandemic and prior to the pandemic actually helped to sustain some of those businesses during the pandemic. And so we're seeing a more desirable approach now from some communities to go down the road of implementation and looking more seriously at the municipal accommodation tax. So Pembroke is the first one, and they're not technically within the county of Renfrew, but from a tourism standpoint, we consider them part of the Ottawa Valley, as they are. And so they were the first out of the gates in April to approve the implementation of the municipal accommodation tax on all accommodations, including their campgrounds at Riverside Park. And that goes into effect on January 1st of 2025, and that's at a rate of 4%. And the city has named the OVTA as the eligible tourism entity to receive 50% of the revenue. The city's projected revenue at about 50% occupancy over a year is close to $400,000. And so sharing 50% of that with the OVTA, less collection and administration, we're looking at a little bit less than $200,000. And that will be spent annually on promoting tourism activities, attractions, and experiences for the city. Next slide, please. And Petawawa, this is just coming off fresh because they literally approved their bylaw at last night's council meeting. So the town of Petawawa has chosen to implement municipal accommodation tax effective January 1st, 2025. And they will be implementing at a 3% rate. And currently they are starting out by only applying to their 5 large hotels. So they are not applying to their Airbnbs or to short-term accommodation rentals or anything like that. It will be just to their 5 traditional hotels. And then regionally, if we look at the Ontario's Highlands region, of which the Ottawa Valley and Renfrew County is part of, the only other region within the Ontario's Highlands regions is the county of Haliburton, and they're currently going through, they have implemented as of October 1st across all 4 of their municipalities. And they're taking a bit of a different approach with the county of Haliburton because they have, in Renfrew County, we're a little bit of a unique situation because we have an official destination marketing organization as the OVTA. It's its own standalone, not-for-profit organization with its own board of directors. Most rural counties at their level, they don't have a separated DMO. They are county staff that deliver their tourism on their behalf. So the county of Haliburton is going through a process where they will be creating a municipal services corp for their tourism staff that will be receiving their funds for the municipal accommodation tax. And we're still learning about them because they just implemented and started collecting on October 1st. They are going through the approach of registering all of their short-term accommodation rentals also to have them included in their maps. And those are the 2 only right now. So Petawawa and Pembroke are the only 2 in the county of Renfrew right now who have implemented. But we've also been invited to have a discussion with the town of Deep River in the new year. So we are still much. Last week.
And then I'll also touch on short-term rental accommodations in the area. So for Greater Madawaska, they started by implementing a short-term accommodation bylaw through a comprehensive process that included community engagement, data analysis, and strategic planning. And here are some of the key steps that they did in order to do so. So they started for the strategic planning and objectives. The initiative aligned with the Township's 2023-2026 strategic plan under the goal of growth management. The bylaw aimed to balance economic benefits of short-term accommodations with concerns from residents and impacts on the local community, including housing availability and neighborhood harmony. In terms of community engagement, a survey in public meetings gathered input from residents with 80 participants attending in-person sessions and others providing written feedback. The majority of the respondents supported STAs but favored regulations to address issues such as noise, safety, waste management, and environmental concerns. For bylaw provisions, the STAs were required to obtain a license renewable annually effective April 1st, 2025. So originally it was expected to be launched January 1st, 2025, but they ended up extending the implementation date. The bylaw sets limits on occupancy, noise levels, and age restrictions for renters alongside requiring adherence to zoning and safety codes in the region. Provisions included a demerit point system to manage violations, ensuring compliance through enforcement mechanisms. For the implementation strategy, the draft bylaws underwent revisions based on community feedback before final approval by the council. The bylaw outlined responsibilities for STA operators, including insurance requirements, adherence to septic and waste systems, and managing the impact on local infrastructure. Now I'll just touch on the influencer marketing partnership. So this year we launched a program within our marketing partnerships, called the Influencer Marketing Partnership Program, and it offers an innovative way to amplify your community's reach and engage with targeted audiences in an authentic and meaningful way. Influencer marketing uses trusted and established voices on social media to share engaging content about your community. And these influencers have built strong connections with their followers, making their recommendations highly effective and driving interest in traffic. Next, please. So how the OBTA influencer marketing partnership works. So it starts with strategic collaboration. The OBTA works with influencers whose followers align with your target audience, including local, regional, and niche markets. The influencers visit businesses, events, or municipalities to create captivating and authentic content. And for content creation, the influencers produce high-quality posts, reels, and stories that showcase offerings to a wider audience, and content is shared on their platforms and OBTA channels for maximum exposure. All content is yours to reuse, giving your business and municipality long-term marketing assets. And so we have 3 tailored engagement levels for this partnership. So we have gold, which is a buy-in of $5,000. And that aims to target influencers that have a following of 20,000 to 50,000 followers. And includes 2 full reels or posts. And it's often a multi-day visit. So we can get away or we can feature on a festival in the region. It can also attract seasons, major events, and attractions. And then the second tier is silver, and that's a $3,000 buy-in, and that aims to target influencers that are around the 5,000 to 20,000 range for followers. And it includes 1 to 2 posts or reels, and it targets local festivals or outdoor adventures. Lastly, we have the bronze package, which is a $1,500 buy-in, and the influencer would have 1,000 to 5,000 followers, and it includes 1 post or reel, and it's smaller. It's designated for smaller content or shopping events. So some of the things that we've done in the past with influencer marketing partnership, we partnered with the town of Farm Crier in June, and they purchased the silver package, and they ended up bringing 3 influencers to their region to highlight the farmers market. And each influencer was for a different target market. So 1 was for culinary, 1 was for family, and 1 was for fashion. So they kind of, they tackled all of their demographics for their target audiences. And we actually had a lot of participation from the downtown businesses in terms of support for that. So some of the businesses offered gift cards or incentives, so the influencers would visit their store directly. And we saw great results with that. In terms of reach, it was just over 30,000 views. They all did reels on their social media channels, and around 300 likes per post, and over 100 comments per post, and over 200 shares in total for the 3 influencers. So one thing that's nice about the influencer marketing campaign is that we have real-time data of what's being shared, and we can access it at any time. And how we do that is when influencers post online, we're added as a collaborator for their posts, so we can see all the data just at the touch of our finger, essentially. And we can see the metrics, so we know that our campaigns are successful. And yeah, it's turning out to be a great initiative. We've also partnered with the town of Petawawa in October And just recently, last Friday, we partnered with the town of Brentford for their late night Christmas holiday shopping event. Next slide, please. So why partner with the OBTA for influencer marketing? So it's authentic storytelling. Influencers connect with their audience by sharing genuine experiences of your business or municipality through their target markets and your target markets. Broader reach, they gain visibility across influencer networks and OBTA's established social media channels. And you receive details reports on reach, engagement, and website traffic to track campaign success. There's also many affordable options. Investment tiers accommodate every budget while providing impactful results. And that being said, we are also open to creating custom campaigns for each region and partnerships. So if you want to work with more than one partner, we can coordinate that with you to help offset some of the costs and while also benefiting the local businesses.
Okay, so moving on to the Festival of Small Halls. So Ontario Festival of Small Halls is a music concert series that takes place in rural communities across Ontario. And how it works is a community can apply to be a host if they have a venue that they feel meets the requirements, and they can submit an application and then work with the organizers on that if they're successful. So just before I get into kind of some of the criteria that they're looking for to host, Rankin did host a Festival of Small Halls in 2018. So you guys have already hosted one. So I wanted to throw that up on the list. And we've also hosted in Westmeath, in Whitewater Region, in Madawaska Valley at the Carmen Community Hall, Batstone's Northern Ramble, which was an event venue in Renfrew. There's no more, but that was in Renfrew. And then it's also been at the DACA Center. And next slide, please. Just in terms of hosting requirements, so these are kind of the primary main minimum requirements that they look in terms of a community host and a venue. So it has to have a venue with a minimum seated capacity for 150 people. It needs to be fully accessible, including a lift for wheelchairs if required, it's multi-levels. There needs to be a separate dressing room area for the artist to use for during and after the show. A minimum of 2 separate 15 amp circuits for electricity that are within 50 feet of the stage. Adequate parking, obviously, for the venue size. Looking for sufficient operational fire extinguishers and just safety aspects in terms of fire suppression services, fire exits, proper insurance, that type of thing. They also look for a dedicated volunteer to assist with the overall hosting, to lead co-marketing of the event and assist with things like ushering people to their seats, parking attendance, putting signs up around the community to promote the event, and other hosting requirements that may come up. They look for the host community to provide a meal for the crew and the performers before the doors open. And then they also require a copy of the hall or the venue's emergency plan. So those are kind of the basic minimum requirements that they look for. There is no cost for submitting an application or for hosting the event. It's all in-kind services that the host community is expected to provide based on this list there. So that's all I have to say about the Festival of Small Halls. And then just quickly before I end, because Mayor Rose did ask me to talk about the First Impressions Community Exchange Program, also known as the VICE program, not like Miami Vice. And so the First Impressions Community Exchange Program is between two communities, and basically it's like a secret shopper program. So if North Algona was participating, they would be paired up with another community that is in a comparable size and makeup. And then you go to that community and you kind of secretly walk around and see what they've got to offer. So things you're looking at, typically there's a number of avenues that they look for you to look at. So usually there's a tourism aspect, they're looking at education, they're looking at healthcare, infrastructure, recreation, that type of thing, signage, all those types of things. There's the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness OMAFA, which runs the program, they have a whole set of criteria that a community can look at, and a whole workbook that a community can go through, that helps you kind of look at what you're looking for in a host community. And then once you've done that first impressions exchange, you write a report, and then you're typically invited to that host community to deliver the report. And I know the town of Ottawa just recently completed it. It was part of their council package last night. And they did an exchange with, Kentville, I believe was the leads in Grenville. I think it was Kentville. And they had a very positive exchange. It was part of their council package, so I'm sure if you dug into it online, you'll be able to see that in their report. I personally can speak to it also because I'm a resident of Killucarty Richards, and I participated in that on behalf of our municipality back in, well, probably 15 years ago now, and we actually went over to Halliburton and went into, maybe now it's just completely gone from my brain, Kelly, as I looked at you, but we were in Halliburton County. No, that's okay. I looked at your beautiful face and get all enamored. I can't remember the name of the community, but we went over to that community in Halliburton and we looked at all of their, so I was kind of the tourism guru to kind of look at what they had in terms of tourism offering. We had a local teacher with us, so she was looking at the aspects of education and what type of schools and things like that there. We had a doctor with us, so he was looking at the healthcare side of things. The whole idea around the first impressions is really to have an outsider take a look at your community, because we all know we can get a little blind sometimes to what's happening in our own backyard. So it's to have that have someone else's lens on your community and to tell you, oh, these are the great things that you're doing. These are some things that you may want to think about improving, or maybe some new ideas that have never just been on the table before. So it's a good way to learn about your neighbor and learn a little bit about yourself as well as the community. And again, I don't think there's much of a cost for that besides maybe a little bit of travel to the community. And there's no application deadlines. It's kind of an ongoing program with OMAFA. So it's just a matter of reaching out to our local advisor, which in our instance is Karen Fisher. So I can make that connection with you, Karen, or your council. And I think I've covered off all the things you've asked for now. So questions?
Thank you very much, Melissa and Ryan. Yes, questions from, yes.
Where do you get influencers from?
Yeah, sure. We just basically source them online. So you identify what your target markets are and we do a proposal of a list of influencers we would recommend, and it's a partnership. So the municipality or the business would have just as much say as the OBTA would in terms of selecting the right one to fit the target market for the needs. So,
and the influencers, are they like from Toronto or Ottawa?
depends what you want your reach to be. So far, the only ones we've worked with really are locals. This year, like Ottawa area. But if you can certainly work with someone from Toronto, that would be more geared towards like a weekend getaway concept. But yeah, it just depends where your target audience you would like to target, yeah.
So, and the smaller municipalities that don't have like motels and hotels, like that, I mean, I don't know how beneficial it would be for them. Like I'm thinking the cost of implementing versus the cost of revenue you get back. Like as opposed to like a big city like Pembroke or Kilwall or Deep River, right?
I think it depends on, it definitely depends on the makeup of what that accommodation base looks like in a community. For some communities, a very small, very rural community that doesn't have many accommodators via traditional or in the short-term accommodation, it may not make sense for them because like you said, it'd be more work to go through the process of creating the bylaw, administering the program, the collection than it would be for the amount of dollars they're going to generate from that revenue. But again, you have to look at your accommodation base. For example, if you have a lot of short-term accommodations, for example, but don't have a lot of traditional accommodators, I would say you may still want to look at that because if your primary accommodation base is short-term accommodations and you have a lot of them, there's probably a good base that you could look at from there.
And so
it really depends on the makeup of your.
And how do you find out your makeup? Just by going on Airbnb or Vrbo? Is that like, because some people be underground, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. There are. And so yeah, so you can do it that way. You can do a scrape across the various platforms, so the Airbnbs, the VRBOs, that type of thing. There are third-party companies that can be engaged that scrape all of the online short-term Basically, it's a paid service, so, and it's typically based on the amount of accommodators that you have in your region is what's tied to their cost for doing that scraping. That being said, those same companies that do the scrape can also be engaged to do your collection, your administration body, all that type of thing too. So there are different kind of packages, if you will, of services they can provide.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Robinson.
The Ontario Festival Small Homes, that's primarily indoor.
Yes. Yeah, they're looking for indoor spaces.
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
So I'm wondering, for the influencer marketing, you mentioned Arcar had 3 different influencers. So like, if we wanted to do the local and not local, like maybe for the regional approach, if we had, Anglers and Hunters Association that was like for all of Ontario, and then a local like ATV or snowmobile or something like that, that's possible to do in that course, yeah.
Go ahead.
And then I have one more question, so what's the vice program? Would you think that that could fit into CIP?
Potentially, if there was aspects of the report that you wanted to implement into your CIP, yeah, most definitely, I think so, for sure. Yeah.
That's it.
Any other questions? And just, I think the last time I checked, just Airbnb and Verbal, we had something like 230 short-term accommodators. So it's not like we don't have many, it's just they're spread out.
And they will fluctuate based on seasonality
Yes,
also.
yes.
So for example, if you checked in the middle of January and checked in the middle of July, you would probably see very different numbers.
Right. Well, thank you both very much for attending and appreciate you taking that time and Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Christmas. And finally, we're pleased to have with us tonight Rory Richards from McKilkin and Associates, and he's going to speak to our audit. Thank you.
So we'll start off on page 1, which is it's the independent auditors report. Let's go over it high level. It's made up of 4 paragraphs. I'll just start first paragraph, the auditors. Opinion paragraph identifies the entity. In this case, it's Algona Wilberforce Township. The various statements and the year end, which is just 31 December 2023. And then also states that our conclusion, and in this case, we believe that the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. The second paragraph, basic opinion, states audit was conducted with generally accepted auditing standards. We are independent. And we believe the audit evidence we obtained is sufficient and appropriate to base our opinion. The third paragraph, management's responsibility, the section of the audit report describes responsibility of those in the organization that are responsible for preparation of financial statements. And ultimately, those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the township's financial reporting process. And then the last paragraph is the auditor's responsibility, and it's our objective to obtain reasonable assurance the statements are free from material misstatement. A reasonable assurance is a high level assurance, but not a guarantee. An audit conducted in accordance with Canadian General Accepted Auditing Standards for always detecting a misstatement that exists. And a misstatement is considered material, individual, or aggregate. It could easily be expected to influence the economic decisions of the users. The second page, page 2, just goes into even more detail on the auditor's responsibility and the I guess sort of process that we do and the presentations. So we move on to page 3, which is the first statement in the financial package, which is the statement of financial position. First area is I'll just trying to highlight, in 22 it says restated note 18. This relates to the asset retirement obligation previously it was recorded as the landfill post-closure costs, and it's been changed to the asset retirement obligation. So when we look at, we'll look at the 18, just provide a breakdown of what changed in the previous year. The majority of that asset retirement obligation is associated with the Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Center, which is consolidated into the statements. The township has an 8.3% in this ownership or consolidation, and so that their numbers are reflected in your financial statements. So the first area is the cash and cash equivalents. Cash did increase by just about 204,000 from the previous year, which is a result of transfers to reserves. When you take a look at the statement of cash flow, we provide a detail on the change in cash balance and where that was derived. Of that amount, at 391,000, relates to Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery. The second item is the taxes receivable. Taxes did increase by 123,000 from the previous year. It's about 13.9 total taxation, but that also includes the county and school taxation that the municipality does collect on behalf of those two boards and units. In the accounts receivable, there was also an increase of just about 89,000. It consists of HST of 231,600. That was an increase of 10,000. OSIP of 326,000. ISIP of about 41,500, and modernization grant of 27,500. Valley waste remained fairly consistent at just over 70,000. The last item under financial assets were investments. Ottawa Valley Waste Management consists of 272,000, and the township had investment of 591,210. So total financial assets did increase to 5,993,000 for the year. Next area is the liabilities. You can see the accounts payable and accrued liabilities did decrease slightly by about 47,000 as trade payables did decrease. Trade payables were just over 280,000, decreased by 107. There's also due to county of 102,000, wages payable of 44,000, due to Ontario 67,000, and Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery of just about 31,000. The deferred revenue area, obligatory reserve funds have outside restrictions on them and are kept in separate bank accounts. There was a decrease of just about $7,000. It consists of the gas tax and also the OSIP balance. So when we look at note 5, it'll provide detail of the transactions within the obligatory reserve funds. And then the deferred revenue other, there's a decrease of 12,500. It consisted of a Live It Up grant of 13,500 and cannabis funding of 20,000. So the grants that will be anticipated to be used in the future. And then, as I mentioned before, in the asset retirement obligation, is estimate of closure and post-closure cares for solid waste landfill sites for future years. There was an increase of about almost $27,000. The majority relates to Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery at 583,000, and then the township has a future landfill, not closure, but closure care of just 62,500. And then the net long-term liabilities, which relates to Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery, is equipment loan, and there was a reduction just over 5,000. So total liabilities for the municipality were fairly consistent with a roughly $20,000 decrease to $1,248,000, resulting in net financial assets of $4,745,000, an increase of $468,277. The next area is the non-financial assets. The tangible capital, non-financial assets or assets are not expected to be turned into cash or used for, but they're used in operations, but not used for financing or payments in the upcoming year, short-term basis. So under tangible capital assets, this is the gross amount of assets less amortization. There's a small decrease of 13,620, which was a result of 1,428,000 in amortization and 1,430, almost 35,000 in additions. Within that, the main additions were a Freightliner fire truck tanker of 331,000, bunker gear of almost 12,000, the Western Star plow truck of 323,000, Jessup road work of 358,000, Lake Dory Lodge and West Fish Park additions of 119,000, and Lake Dory sidewalks of 85,000. Inventories of supplies. This consists of fuel, gravel, sand, salt. The township had at year end. There's a small change of $1,200 just based on usage at year end and winter events. And then the last item is prepaid expenses, which relate to auto value waste recovery center. So total non-financial assets did decrease slightly to 20,497,000, resulting in accumulated surplus of 25,242,000, a increase of $457,259 per year, and that accumulated surplus consists of the three balances at the bottom, which is equity and tangible capital assets, reserve and reserve funds, and also the unfunded landfill and post-closure costs of the 645,286. Question for the statement of communication.
On page 6, that's the one, it is 2023, the one column 2022, restate note 18. Excess of revenue over expenses. Why was there such a big difference between 23 and 22?
I think it's going to depend on probably your amortization and also what your surplus for the year. I think if you want to take I would look at your general fund, and that also includes the waste recovery. I would look at page 18 if you want to look at comparables for it, but also doesn't include transfer to reserves. So if you have I wouldn't say a surplus, because you can plan to transfer funds to reserves for future projects. That's not reflected in the statement of operations on page 6.
Okay, and also on page 6, halfway down where it says long-term debt repayment.
Yes.
Why maybe you touched on it, but I missed it. Why was there a big difference there between 23 and 22?
Pretty sure I believe that that was the last year that the municipality actually spent through the waste recovery, or the venture you had with the waste recovery. That was the last year it was paid on. So like if you look at the just municipality, you guys don't have any debt.
Right.
That was shown on the statements where it's still about waste recovery.
Okay, and right near the end of the report on page 14, it talks about segmented information.
Yes.
And then 4, environmental services include water supply, distribution, wastewater, solid waste, and recycling services. We don't really have a lot of wastewater treatment and solid waste, I don't think, and water supply.
It's a generalization of what environment includes, so it's specific that this year township includes this stuff, but more generally, this is the type of things that are included. So if you were to compare yourself to another municipality, they may have that, so it might not be comparable just to be included, but that's what would include the municipality that has it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Mine is just in regards to those those asset retirement, funds that now have to be captured in the, audit statements. I know primarily it involves all about waste recovery, but I know in other places they are looking at things like asbestos removal and so on. Is that just an estimate? Is there any financial number attached to it, or
Well, it's,
is that?
yeah, the numbers are based on an engineering report, so they're as accurate as you can make them, but you're also basing it on inflationary factors, which are an estimate, and also, your base investment, what you can make. So if you're looking at something out, 30, 40 years, it is an estimate, but what that amount is in current dollars is based on an engine. So it's as accurate as an estimate, I guess.
Right.
And if you look at what, say, over the last 5 years, escalation in costs, like we saw a big difference in the post-closure costs in majority of municipalities from, say, the last studies done 2 or 3 years ago, just from the costs. And it also is dependent if the ministry changes, like the monitoring on, say, the landfill here, which potentially should be complete, but it's not, it's gonna go on in the future. So it's an estimate, and councils have to be aware of it, but it can change, and it should, your study should be done every 2 to 3 years to change, to reflect anything that changes.
Yeah, just as you said, I know at the Ottawa Valley Waste, the ministry has come up with some additional criteria, which again adds to the cost and
So, yeah, I mean,
more or less.
yes, so if things change, then with the next study, it could be even more.
Any other questions?
I just have one comment, Your Worship. When we're referred to the tangible capital asset valuation, it's important for council to note that that number is reduced. That means you're investing less in your assets. So that will probably be reflected in your 2025 budget, just so that you'll see where those impacts are gonna happen along with the 5-year capital forecast. So just keep that in mind when we start to work on budgets and other issues.
Thank you. Any other comments? See none, then I have a motion that council adopts the 2023 draft financial statements presented by McKillican and Associates, moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Buckle. Comments? See none, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much, Rory. Appreciate your time. So moving on to reports, item 7.1 is the snow director's memorandum of understanding, and I have a motion that council authorizes the mayor to endorse the memorandum of understanding with the Eagleville Snowdrifters Club to enter into and access the municipal lands as established in Schedule B, pages 1 to 4. Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckles. Comments, questions? Councilor Aiken-Johnson.
Is this something new? I don't remember this last year.
It is new, from talking to, Zach Plus, I guess he's I don't know if he's the president, but he's the vice president.
Right.
The Ottawa, the Snowmobile Association of Ontario. They have come out with these new schedules because they need signed agreements with every private property owner and municipality where the trail travels across. So that is brand new, even though they've had some of these agreements in the past, they weren't formal. So now everything has to be done according to the Snowmobile Club or the Ottawa Valley Snowmobile Trails Association.
So even though they were using our property before, we never had something official with this, okay. Thanks.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. So item 7.2 is the 4-H club request. And the motion that council approves the 4-H Creative Club 12 free 3-hour rental uses of the Golden Lake Community Hall on Sunday afternoons, if available, from December the 15th, 2024 to June 2025, and agrees to waive the $1,440 rental fee. Security deposit is still required unless the hall is required on such afternoon for municipal purposes when notified by the township. Moved by Councilor Buckle, seconded by Councilor Burns. Comments, questions? Councilor Burns.
So I do see the importance of youth engagement, and it was one thing we talked about in our strategic plan. But I also see the fact that that's $1,400 that we're, potentially giving away. Maybe it wouldn't be rented, so maybe we're not giving it away. I also was a long time 4-H person, and we always went to people's houses or garages or rec rooms, and that's how we kept the rental fee down. So I guess my problem is that seems to be like a lot of money. Did they maybe outsource and say maybe the Rotary Club would give them some money, or did they approach, or maybe they have to do a bottle drive, or maybe they have to doing those things does also create a sense of community and a sense of accomplishment, because we want to meet here, therefore we're going to have to work, nothing in life is free, therefore this is how we're going to accomplish some of the rental fees. I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Councilor Buckle.
I think part of the difficulty that groups like this are having, again, because it used to be you have to go to somebody's house, but now with insurance requirements and legal concerns and all that, it's pretty hard to have an organization do that. As far as the loss of revenue, the way I look at it is this is a community center that's there to provide a service to our community. To me, this is a service. It's a very good one. If somebody was asking for a waiver to host a birthday party or an anniversary or something like that, I'd be less inclined to support something like that. But something like this, I think that's part of our mandate as a community to provide that facility.
Councilor Robinson.
I guess the question is, are they charging the youth to be part of the club?
If I can speak towards that, just because my son has helped out and my husband too. So when you join a club, regardless of the club, you pay so much to 4-H Ontario. So the interesting thing about 4-H Ontario now is if you pay, I think it was a couple of years ago, $80, it could be more. That $80 allows you to participate in many 4-H clubs as you wanted to. So you could do like beef, we had a sports one, a whole bunch of ones. It's not per club. So some of that money goes to 4-H Ontario and they will give some money back. In terms of the insurance and stuff like that, because we've always had animals, we've always had to go to people's places because we couldn't rent something like the Golden Lake Community Center and bring 10 cows and 20 people. I guess, but it could get a little messy.
So I was going to say.
So I'm just saying, I get the idea, and I'm a big person about keeping youth involved, don't get me wrong, but I'm also a person saying like sometimes they have to realize it doesn't come for free, right? And I know part 2 says provide a discounted rental of the hall, and perhaps that's a better option. The other thing too is like sometimes you do have to hustle and do things. Like I know our 4-H club wanted their own jackets, so they fundraised for their own jackets, right? So I mean, don't get me wrong, and 4-H Ontario is different than in some of the other places, I'm just telling you. Before it was free, like when I was young, but now it's not. And like the other thing too is like, I mean, we're gonna have to hire a custodian, I imagine, to go in and just make sure everything's clean, or is it something that we say, if you wanna use it, then you gotta leave it better than it was when you got it, and stuff like, I just think it's important, it's just, I want people to realize the hall is not a free rental, like somebody's paying for it, and we're paying for it, right? I mean, because the heat will go up a little bit, and there'll be supplies that'll be used, and I'm okay with all that stuff, but it's still costing us something. And like I said, other ways around it.
Councillor Robinson?
I'm for this time around, but as Councillor White Jean-Paul pointed out, I know organizations have approached Rotary for assistance to compensate some of those rental costs. So I think that maybe it's a directive that we give the club to say, you know, you need to look at some other option besides coming to the trough for assistance.
Yes, Councillor Reddy.
I would have to say some of those organizations wouldn't know to do that. But I mean, it's just something to make the leaders know, and this is a possibility, and this is something you can do. And they might even be able to find a patron that would say, I don't know, how much does it cost to rent it for one night or for one day? What is it?
It's $40
For 12.
So it's the
I could do
12 3-hour rentals.
So I mean, like maybe there's a community that could say, or not a community, a business that would say, yeah, I'm gonna donate one rental. You know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying, I think they have to explore other avenues, as you said, Councilor Robinson, and how to get money so they can have that.
So just to follow up on that, couple of things, you talked about the cleanup. I think in speaking to the Angela, I think is her name, the leader. The reason they're asking for 3 hours is they like to leave the last half hour for their group to do the cleanup. And the other thing I just wanted to mention is we did give them free rentals last year to get this club established. So I tend to agree with what you're saying is I think there has to be a responsibility on their part to raise some of the money to cover the fees. I'd be willing to give them half of the rental fee, but certainly not, I'm not in favor of $1,450. I have to agree with Mr. Snell on that.
And with perhaps telling them there's other avenues you could explore. Like, you know, because I don't think last year we gave them 12 free.
No, we didn't. We just gave them a couple to try and get it going. And I think their membership already is somewhere between 15 and 18 people that are signed up, so. Yes.
I'd just like to speak that this is a creative part of the 4-H. They are looking at to do crafts and to also learn skills that they can use in other parts of their lives. They do charge a small stipend just to purchase these crafts. And also I think council is providing the hall free to other groups, and it's creating other groups to look at that and say, hey, they got it for free. Let's ask to get it for free process.
Well, I guess they look at it, there's no harm in asking, but we don't always have to agree, so.
They can creatively look for ways of paying for that.
Well, just on that, so maybe we need to readdress our policy on the in-kind donation of facilities to put something in so that there is a limit. So, you know, if it's your first year of the organization, sure, we'll do up to this. But then after that, it's either reduced on a sliding scale or eliminated. And that may be something we should look at in updating our policies.
That's a good suggestion. Certainly agree with that.
Yeah, there is a group that has that pays rent there and offers a free drop-in for any youth at no cost to drop in. So, and they're paying. I would just rent. Yeah.
So, what's the wish of council on, it's been moved and seconded. Do you want to change the amount? Do you want to say nothing at all? Councilor Robinson.
I would say cut it in half.
I would agree with that. I can do that. So that would be 720, right?
And maybe perhaps with communication to the leaders saying, you know, there are other community organizations which you might be able to approach to get funding, you know, and, you know, maybe you have to do a big sale to raise money for, or maybe you have to approach a business to see if they'd be, like, because we do donate, let's say, and it's coming up about skating, right, at the, in Eganville, and maybe people would donate, they see the value of it. I mean, they might have to be creative in how they look to cover the cost.
Well, and so,
That's going on.
some of the other organizations are sending out ask letters, like the baseball, group to assist with the cost of lighting. I just know that, the Rotary Club receives letters from these smaller clubs for assistance, and they get, you know, $300, $400, $500 to assist with that season's activity. You know, just pointed out the skating, the community, all the community, the township goes and asks each of the community to sponsor. Same thing could be done here.
Like the Golden Lake Property Owners and the Lake Dory Property Owners Association, they do have money. I mean, they could very well say, yeah, we want to engage our youth. We don't mind donating that. People give money. It's like, could be, you know, be simple. I'm just saying, maybe the leaders have to realize they have to knock on other doors.
Yeah, and maybe they, as you said, they're not informed, and
That's
we need
right.
to just put that back when we send or a decision. Say these are the other opportunities.
So Councillor Buckle, Councillor Byrne, are you in agreement then to amend the amount from 1440 to 720?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Item 7.3 is the Volunteer Union Public Library. The board and CEO reports. And I have a motion the council accepts the Volunteer Union Public Library Board and CEO reports as information. Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Ricky. For questions, Councillor Ricky.
What is the money they fundraise from the event at the Eagles Nest, the $4,000? What does that go towards?
That goes towards non-operational activities, so that if they're needing specific items in the library, that doesn't come under their operational costs.
Like books, like books?
If it's a specific kind of books, because books, they have a budget for books.
Okay,
But if, like, for example, they were creating new spaces in the library for a makerspace activity, then that's where we go to.
thanks.
But, and one of the discussions that they had is that we have to make sure from the Public Library Act that we cannot use fundraising dollars for operational. So it's really not that outside of that.
Thank you.
The other comment I had was I was really pleased to see they got a grant, I believe, for books for children with autism.
Dyslexia,
Or dyslexia.
yes, and so that was, I think $500, we were able to get specific books for that.
Any idea how many patrons are challenged with dyslexia?
More than you would think, there's quite a few, especially in the low grades,
Right.
which is when they're starting to discover, yes.
Do the two elementary schools know that there's books in the library for kids, or now there's going to be books in the library for dyslexic kids?
She did, there was an article in the paper about it.
Okay,
So, but I can mention it to them that they should probably do additional outreach.
yeah, because I mean, maybe the special education teacher didn't know, or maybe,
Yes.
like, you know, parents can't afford it, or maybe there's just a list, but then the school could buy it, and I don't know, library. Okay, thanks.
They used to reach out, this was before COVID, of course. I don't
Yes.
know if they've redone or reinstated any of those programs or whether that's something that still happens.
They still do reach out to the schools. And they actually, some of the schools actually participate.
That's good.
Yeah. And the young lady that does the youth program, there's quite a number of the kids that come from the public schools. Yeah.
And I see where they're doing their outreach to Fairfields as well for the seniors, which
Yes.
is certainly a program that they
Yeah.
appreciate.
Very much, especially for the large print.
Right.
That's a big one. It's trying to keep on top of that. The other thing that they've done is creating a number of book clubs. So the number of book clubs in the community have grown. They've got one on Mink Lake, they've got one at Fifth Chute. So it's very, very well used.
Okay, any other comments? Saying none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Item 7.4 is the Celebrate Canada 2025, and motion that council accepts the Celebrate Canada 2025 report as information. Moved by Councillor Buckle, seconded by Councillor Schmidt. Comments or questions? Councillor Schmidt.
Is that the Canada Day grant? It's just, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. And it just has to be used for July 1st activities.
Everything's the same as last year.
Right, okay.
And that's the lady down said the play this year again. That's great news. That's Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Item 7.5 is the summer student grant for 2025, and I have a motion that council accepts the report regarding the 2025 summer student grants, and further that council approves submitting an application to the Canada Summer Jobs Program and the Summer Employment Opportunities Program for the 2025 season. Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Ricky Schonfeld. Comments or questions? Councillor Ricky Schonfeld.
Like a long time ago, we always had a public works summer student. Is that not a possibility, or young allowed to do?
We did have one last year we applied for, but we did not get funding for that student. It came right out of the operations.
They cut down the number of summer student grants that everybody was getting. That's the ones.
They also changed some of the parameters on the application. I noticed that this year the grouping of for which area you're going to be applying, that has changed. So for example, the library, who used to be in the not-for-profit group, is now with the health, hospitals. So the chances now of them getting it is going to be even tighter. So they've made a huge shift in the grouping of so that is going to be another level of filter.
Yes, Karen.
Also, anything they pursue to be core funding, they expect a municipality to pay for, and it's supposed to be for specific target areas like tourism is one, that's why. Our summer student application is tailored to sort of tourism, water sports,
Right.
recreation type.
Where they think public works should come out of our operations. Gotcha.
Even the recreation coordinator, we are not bringing it as a recreation coordinator because of the grant is now. Oh.
I can't hear what you're saying, and hardly hear what Mary's saying, sorry. That's okay.
I know I have to keep projecting.
Well, keep remembering that it's supposed to be going to.
Yes, exactly.
It's,
Thank you.
Any other comments? Being none, all in favor, that's carried, thank you. Item 7.6 is the seniors community grant, and I have a motion of council accepts the report regarding the 2025-2026 seniors community grant program. And further, that council approves submitting an application to the 2025-26 seniors community grant program. Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Burns. Comments, questions? Councillor Reckitt.
I did like how you showed the connection to our strategic plan. Thanks.
Any other comments? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. And 7.7 is the alternate voting method, and I have a motion that council enacts bylaw number 2024-72, being a bylaw to authorize the use of vote by mail as the alternative voting method for North Algona Wilberforce Township 2026 municipal election. Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Buckwell. Comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. And 7.8 are the 2024 Employee Service Awards, and I have a motion that council accepts the 2024 Employee Service Awards report as information. Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments, questions? Councillor Reckitt.
Is there somewhere on our website we could temporarily just put this so that it recognizes and we're celebrating our employees? Just for a short period of time?
This could go on there. They're just posting them.
I just think it's nice to recognize people that, especially like the 25 and the 30, I mean, for the Karen and Brian, that's a long time to be working in a municipality.
And or mulcher on the fire department.
Right.
Any other comments? All in favor? It's carried, thank you. Item 7.9 is the skating sponsorship, and I have a motion that council sponsors 3 one-hour moms, tots, and senior skating events at Beaconville Arena during the 2024-25 season at a cost not exceeding $300. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Buckwell. Questions, comments? Councillor Reckitt.
I think it's a great idea, just as long as our residents know about it. So can we put that on Community Connect maybe? Yeah. And then maybe this even on our website, just so people know, because sometimes people say, I don't know. And it's good that more people have signed up for Community Connect, which is good. I think.
Any other comments? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. Item 7.10 is the office flooring, and I have a motion that council accepts this report. Request for proposal RFP-NAW-24-11 flooring installation, and that council does not award RFP-NAW-2024-11 flooring installation, and furthermore, that council agrees that staff may accept up to 3 quotations to complete the installation of the flooring at Charlotte's office and the Golden Lake Hall. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Buckwell. Questions, comments? Councillor Robinson?
Just want some clarification on it. Please.
Maybe you should bring the report up. This is not, we had an issue with getting it on, so we just got it straightened up today.
Okay.
Council has not seen it.
I can speak on it. So we went to request a proposal. We received one proposal within the time frame, but he didn't, complete the requirements within the RFP. That was, he do the site meeting. The material that he presented was inferior, I believe, for our needs. And he didn't register with us, which is illegal, because that's the only way we can contact people who it's taken an RFP in case there's addendums and such, so. That's why I'm asking that it's not accepted, the proposal, which makes perfect sense. I believe the last time the flooring was done, I think Laura can attest to this, if they had issues with getting qualified flooring installers to do the flooring. I did call around prior to this, releasing this RFP, and I had issues with getting feedback from the local flooring installers. I did have one gentleman come in and look at the flooring and give a quotation, but he refused to present a proposal. I don't know why, but anyway, I would probably go back to the one that presented the proposal and ask him to give a quotation if he did the site meeting that was required. And possibly go to the gentleman that did not put a proposal in and ask if his quotation would be still valid. So at least I know I can get two quotations for the flooring. I would try to get a third.
Are contractors that busy, or is it just the size of the job that are not interested because it's small?
It's becoming a common denominator that they just do not want to fill out the tenders or the request for proposals. I don't know if it's laziness or they just have enough work that they don't have to do that. We saw it this year with the trucks. 2 trucks were presented for RFPs, and I didn't receive any of them. And then I had to repost them. I got 1 for each of them. It seems to be more difficult to get people to do a proposal for you.
I just mentioned, as a result of the conversation we had related to this RFP and other conversation in the office, I think it's time to relook at our purchasing bylaw and look at those limits involved, so we can maybe move a little more freedom related to each types of proposals.
Probably a good idea, because I know other municipalities are changing their limits for tenders and RFPs and quotes.
It's times have changed. When I started 14 some years ago, you get a clutch, it was $5,000 to put into a truck, which was our purchasing a lot at that time. You're lucky to get something for $15,000. Right? I mean, things of the motor goes on your grader, you're looking at $30,000. And then you're limited to the supplier. I mean, if you have a Volvo grader, it's a Volvo that's going to fix it, right? I mean, that's the way it works. I mean, so it's usually single sourcing anyway, with stuff like that. But, your hands get tied when you're into. I know I'm not saying it's not. It is enough money. I mean, you're looking probably at $25,000, which is enough money for a small township, but it's still, I think the least is like you can at least get a goal for quotation instead of doing the tender process or the RFP process.
That's right.
So is your intention then to write a new RFP and then put it out there, or are you just gonna go to those 2 people?
I'm asking you just to go out for quotations.
So I think in this case too, the first person and the one that completely are, we were both reputable businesses. They sold at local businesses in the sense too, so they just missed the mark with the one not wanting to submit and the other one not fully completing the requirements. Okay.
Well, thank you for the background. Any other comments? Saying none, all in favor?
Can I get the resolution again?
I'm not sure.
Okay, done.
Good. I'm good. That's carried, thank you. Item 8.1 is the community and economic development. And I motion the council accepts the quarterly update, community and economic development dated December 24th in the report. Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Burke. Questions, comments? Councillor Ricky Schonfeld.
Cameron, what was the EV Charge Ontario grant that it got declined? What was that one about?
That one was, that's an Ontario, provincial grant that was hopefully going to offset the cost of the rural transit fund of our contribution.
Okay,
It was unsuccessful.
all right, thank you.
And do we know, I know from talking to the CAO at Vulture Valley, they applied as well, and they heard
They didn't.
they didn't get a letter.
We are looking at other options though, the three of us, for offsetting our contributions.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments? Councillor Robinson.
The inclusive community grant for seniors and accessibility. That one is also declined. They say why.
They didn't give me
Let's
any.
deal with this one first.
Which one?
Yeah, it's in.
Oh, it's in
It's
there.
one, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
That's just one of the grants that we applied for. Essentially, it was the same, everything was the same as the New Horizons for Seniors grant. So same programming, same targets, same amount of staff, same, like everything was the same. And I'm not sure why. I did talk to them in, not this past year, but the year before, and they said that the Golden Lake Hall is too all inclusive. It's not specifically sports, it's not specifically culture, it's not, and we don't really have any specific recreation facility or like we are kind of, we don't fit the, you know, the square peg in the round hole sort of thing. So that was their only feedback, and there's not really that much that we can do about that.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious.
Are they aware that we don't have those other specific facilities?
And they expect partnerships with, like, you know, they want a letter of support from 4 different organizations that specifically deal with like seniors and sports. And it's like, we don't have a single one, it's just about seniors and sports. So we're kind of stuck.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Item 8.2 is the bylaw enforcement report, and I have a motion council accepts the bylaw enforcement report as information. Moved by Councillor Bird, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Yeah. Item 8.3 is the chief building officer, and I have a motion that council accepts the chief building officer report as information. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Ricky Schonfeld. Comments, questions? Councillor Robinson.
We were busy.
Yes, we were.
Very surprised.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Item 9.1 are the non-action, and I have a motion that council accepts non-action correspondence items 9.1.1 to 9.1.9 as information. Moved by Councillor Randy Schonfeld, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Item 9.2.1 from the city of Cambridge I have a motion, whereas the Township of North Algona Wilberforce received correspondence from the City of Cambridge, and that the Council of the Township of North Algona Wilberforce support the motion requesting that all levels of government enact regulations regarding lithium-ion batteries. And therefore, a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to the City of Cambridge, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, MPP John Yakubuski, and MP Cheryl Gallant. I remember the seconder, moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Duchon. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Nine point two from the Township of Brudenell, Lindbach, Raglan. Whereas the Township of North Algona Wilberforce received correspondence from the Township of Brudenell, Lindbach, and Raglan, and that the Council of the Township of North Algona Wilberforce supports the townships of Callender and Brudenell, Lindbach, and Raglan, urging the provincial government to promptly resume the property assessment cycle. And therefore, a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the municipalities of Callender and Brudenell, Lindbach, and Raglan. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Burge. Comments, questions? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. And 9.2.3 from the town of Carey Sound, whereas the Township of North Algona Wilberforce received correspondence from the town of Carey Sound, and that the Council of the Township of North Algona Wilberforce support the motion requesting that the Government of Ontario implement the road safety program. And therefore, a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to the town of Carey Sound, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, and the Honourable Fred B. Sakara, Minister of Transportation. Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. From the Township of Horton, whereas the Township of North Algona Wilberforce received correspondence from the Township of Horton, and that the Council of the Township of North Algona Wilberforce support the motion requesting that the Ontario government reabsorb the cost of the Ontario Provincial Police back into the provincial budget, and therefore a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Township of Horton, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, and Peter Bettenfaldy, Minister of Finance. Moved by Councillor Burns, seconded by Councillor Robinson. Comments, questions, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. And 9.2.5 from the Township of Papineau Cameron, whereas the Township of North Algona Wilberforce received correspondence from Township of Papineau Cameron, and that the Council of the Township of North Algona Wilberforce support the motion requesting the Ontario government amend the Ontario Building Code to include provisions for pre-approved affordable housing plans. And therefore, a copy of this resolution will be forwarded to the Township of Papineau Cameron, the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, and Paul Calandra, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and MPP John Yakubuski. Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Burns. Comments, questions? All in favor? That's carried, thank you. The 10.1 is a bylaw to authorize execution of memorandum of understanding. Now therefore, the Council of North Algona Wilberforce enact the following bylaw. Bylaw 2024-60, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the Edenville Snowdrifters Club. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Schoenfeld. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried, thank you. In 10.2, bylaw to authorize alternate voting method. Now therefore, the Council of Algona Wilberforce enact the following bylaw. Bylaw 2024-69 being a bylaw to authorize alternate voting methods. Moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Bucknell. Comments? All in favor? It's carried. Item 10.3, the bylaw 2024-70. Now therefore, the Council of Algona Wilberforce enact the following bylaw 2024-70, being a bylaw for township officers and employees. Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Burns. Questions, comments, Councilor Buckwell?
Do most municipalities pay 100% of their dental and that? The most of them? Yeah.
It's a range, there's some are 80-20, 75-20, some are 100%. Yeah.
Okay, and then also, on the second page, Article 3, where it says uniform safety clothing, I feel like we're not treating our part-time staff the way we should, because how many times do we get our part-time people back? Like, I feel like if you're a part-time person, you should get your money when you should have your choice of getting the money when you sign up. So like the winter fellow that we hired, I think that we should be paying, I'm not saying $650, but $325 the first when he signs up, because he may not come back. He may find another job. I disagree with that.
Yes, go ahead.
So that's in accordance with the policies, the way they stand right now, or council can amend that. And then when the policy comes back, as the policy gets reviewed, whenever there's amendments that are required, that could be changed at that time.
I personally would like to see that amended, because I don't feel like we're treating them the way we treat everybody else. I mean, they may or may not come back, but they're here for that period of time. I think we should provide them with, the appropriate uniform and safety clothing.
So is your suggestion that we defer this and have staff bring it back with the amendment?
I prefer not to defer, because then that would cause retroactive pays. We can amend the bylaw right now. If that's okay.
So $325 each year for part-time then?
That's my opinion. I mean, you can choose, and I think though there was something in, when we looked at it last year, there's a certain time, we might have to tweak that.
But sorry, it says every second year.
I know, we'd have to change that. Like, to me, a part-time should be, they're only employed per year, right? We don't have a part-time guy that we say you're part-time for the next 3 years. It's only it's only per year.
So the wording is what you're.
No, well, we have to change a bunch of the wording. That's what I'm saying, but I think my general concept is we should be giving our part-time guys and girls the uniform and safety clothing. Not $650, but.
Right,
That's right.
and I think that's what this is supposed to be trying to.
Maybe, but it says every second year.
I know.
And the person not maybe, and so that person comes back again, let's say he comes back again, well then.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
So is this the only one we're amending then? We're changing part-time to $325
Per year.
Per year.
Yep,
per
that's
year?
all you have to do.
Well, and also something.
That's, it's gonna be per year.
Yeah, so the reason behind the seasonal operators not part-time, seasonal employee. The part-time is, we would have I would have 5 staff members of part-time, more of them being wayside attendants. Two of which work 1 day a week. So my theory behind that is we have public work full-time employees getting $650 and they're working a few thousand hours a year, whereas in part-time they're working whatever that works out to, weekends, so about 300 hours a year. So I mean, like your equipment is not
No,
being used extensively as a part-time employee, so.
but
This line was discussed
It was.
prior to the bylaw, with Adrian, myself, and, yeah, there's a few ways to look at this.
yeah, okay, so to me, the new guy that was hired to do winter roads, right? So I know he's only part-time, but he's here for the full season, I believe like we should be doing something for his jacket and his, boots and stuff like that. Even though I get the fact that he doesn't work as many hours as the other one, but maybe it's a different category.
It's after his probationary period. And then you discuss it the next following year, the next January,
But he might not be here the next January.
possibly.
See, I just don't,
Do we provide all hard hats and vests? And golf swim? If need be, which is the requirement, but typically, as I was always had to do, I had to buy my own work boots when I went anywhere when I worked. So if he came employed by us, he accepted a position, but we're not going to pay his work boots because he's on 3-month probation, right? So he has to show up with his steel toe. You know what I mean?
no, she
So I
doesn't
mean, he
say.
already has the steel toe boots that he probably provided for himself, so I don't think they're going to wear it through.
I know. I just say, like, I'm just looking from a person point of view. To me, we're hiring, we give other people stuff. I don't know if we'll ever have the part-time coming back for a second year and he'll be eligible for the $650. Because to me, he's still working the same hours. So like, we're not gonna give it to him, every year, every season, that'll be $325. But what we'll do is he'll double his time, which still isn't as much as those other people you talked about, and then we'll give him $650. I just don't think it's fair.
Council Burke, you and your hand. No. Okay.
It's neither here nor there. You're still getting $650 in a 2-year period. Just if you want to do it at $325 per year, and I'm doing that $650 every second, it's the same amount of money.
That's right, I just.
And then at least you know that they're coming, if they come back, they're not taking your $325 and taking it somebody else's business, right?
Anyway, I just, like, to me, it's, we spend millions of dollars and we're arguing about $325 for a part-time person. That might only be here this season, but I think we should treat them well. And we talked about why it's important at the Christmas festival and how we do this and that. To me, it's a part-time guy or girl. We should treat them well.
Councilor Buckle.
I think my question would be, are we differentiating between regular part-time and seasonal?
Yes.
And that's what I
Right
know.
now.
Okay, because it's not listed in here, seasonal is not treated any different than part-time, but where is the seasonal? So let's say we hire
Even
someone,
though it's in the policy, but it's not in this requirement, this seasonal, you not receive it.
okay, so the seasonal don't. So this is basically,
Part-time is our custodian, and they're 4 weeks at a time.
so this is for our regular part-time, so the seasonal doesn't even enter into this.
Okay.
So I'm hearing the wish of council is to amend the part-time to read $325 every year
After probation.
after probation.
After 3 months of waiting. On January 1. Oh, persevere.
So effective January 2025.
That was in January.
It's a promotion on January 2nd.
No. It's like a complete probation. That's, we ran into that 130. Once the probation is completed, it's February, they still get the 325. It's still for that year. The calendar year.
So is it okay if I just add that we're enact the following bylaw as amended, or do we have to write in the change?
I think, it's nice to be specific, so as amended, to reflect part-time. 325. Every year following completion.
And I think that will actually work out well, because again, that gives your part-time staff the opportunity that over the course of 2 years to purchase summer stuff and winter stuff.
I just have one comment. So the part-time staff from last year, we're expecting 650 this year. This came in last year, right? So those landfill attendants are expecting a $650 payment of clothing allowance this year.
They didn't get them last year,
Yeah.
which is it's the same though.
I don't have a comment.
They're expecting a $650 clothing allowance in January 1 because they waited a year already for the $650.
So should we put it back, commencing January 1, 2020, well, then we're gonna review the bylaw.
Yeah,
No, because I can still deal with that as the bylaw that was in place, the policy that was in place for the calendar year 24.
okay.
Okay, this is going forward, so I'll still do a retroactive date of what was in place for 24.
Okay.
Does council want to entertain then adding a seasonal category?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Is my question.
I think we should.
Well, why don't we pass the bylaw tonight?
Mhm.
And we'll bring another bylaw back on January to clean up these things, but everything will still remain the same. That'll be the best.
Yeah, then I can still go ahead with the rates that are in there, and not have a retroactive date.
Then we can talk at staff, so it's a little bit more concise.
So I will read what I wrote down. It's now therefore the Council of North Dakota Wilberforce enact the following bylaw 2024-70 being a bylaw for township officers and employees as amended to reflect part-time employees 325 every year for uniform and safety clothing allowance.
Consideration. Sorry, Your Worship, though, I think it's best what we call it, pass the resolution as is. Disregarding the newest bylaw. Is that fair?
And bring an amended bylaw back in January with the correct wording.
So we need to repeal and replace this bylaw
Okay,
within a month.
and that avoids the retroactive date.
Yeah,
Correct.
it'll address that, so let's just pass this bylaw. And let's don't worry about the
And it was the seasonal.
when we come back.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
I just wrote that all up.
Very good, though. That's very good. I wrote that down.
All in favor? It's carried, thank you. Item 11, are there any matters of urgency? Any notice of motion? Reports from committees are done, so the next upcoming meeting and unfinished business, the next regular council meeting will be January 21st, 2025 at 7 p.m. And at this point, I have a motion that council go into closed session pursuant to section 239 2B E of the Municipal Act regarding one personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees specifically. A CAO goals, 2 litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local boards. Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor. And we will be going to close at 9:04 p.m. All in favor? Thank you. So, I have a motion that bylaw 2024-71 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council for December 17th, 2024. Read the first and second time. Moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Buckwald. Read the third time and finally passed the 17th day of December 2024. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. And finally, I have a motion that this December 17th, 2024 regular meeting of council adjourns at 10:12 p.m. Moved by Councillor Burke, seconded by Councillor Ricky Schoenfeld. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thanks, Lauren.